Right then, anyone with kids knows that we don't talk about Bruno. No. But today, we are going to talk about Bruno. He's been coming in for a little bit of criticism of late. On the back of the absolute nightmare that we had at Anfield, one man in particular has come under a ton of scrutiny. And when we concede 7, I find that a little bit distasteful. It's a collective, including the gaffer, has to take some sort of a pasting for that. Not one man, all on his own. His attitude, his discipline, everything has been brought into question about him being unbecoming of a Manchester United captain. In the last 10 years, Bruno has been the standout signing since Sir Alex Ferguson's departure. His production, his availability has been absolutely sensational. And during that time, he has produced 57 goals and 50 assists in 166 games for the club. He's missed 1 game from injury in his United career. There's a lot of players could learn a thing or two about that. However, during his time at United, there's been a bit of a blemish. And there's been diving. There's been performance within game when he hasn't produced. Some of the performances have been poor. There's been a lot of petulance. Sometimes his body language is frustrating. His attitude and discipline has been brought into question a couple of times, mostly in relation to that, not in relation to the fact that, he seems like a good professional. There's never any talk of him not training hard. We know that he likes to do extras. Those aren't things that are brought into question. It was reported, potentially incorrectly, as certainly as it seems like the club has come out and briefed to the opposite, that he has to come off in the 85th minute, gesturing to the bench, waving the white flags, and leading to strong backlash from Gary Neville and Roy Keane post-match. And it sounds like they may have been mistaken. Simon Stone is usually the club's outlet for when they need to brief something to the media, and Simon Stone's coming out and saying it was more frustration about he didn't know where he was playing. And I think that adds up. I don't think he would ask to come off. I think he would see his arse with not knowing where he was playing because of the changes that had happened at the time. Gary Neville said, Bruno is asking why it's not him coming off. Honestly, some of his behaviour has been a disgrace, even if he's been brilliant at times, his assists and goals. I start with the captain. You don't throw your hands up, you run back. I've had enough of him throwing his arms up at teammates and not running back. He got pushed in the chest and goes down holding his face. I think Ten Hag will deal with him strongly in the next 40 hours. That was a disgrace. Roy Keane, for me, the quintessential Manchester United captain, said Fernandes' body language today was disgraceful. He's a really talented boy. He's your captain, but his body language, waving his arms, not running back, you wouldn't be happy with him. Manchester United have since come out and debunked that, as I said, via Simon Stone, that he has to come off, stating that he was asking for clarification over his position following the introduction of Anthony Elanga. And at the time of recording, there's an investigation into him shoving the linesman. Reports have also come out questioning his right to the de facto captaincy role. Sources close to United have indicated there are reservations inside the camp over whether or not Bruno has the right attributes to take the club's captaincy on full time. And many at United, apparently including players, were irritated by his behaviour on the pitch against Liverpool. Instead of Bruno, there is a feeling that Varane, De Gea or Casemiro would be suited or better suited to the role as captain at the club. There is an acknowledgement that a new United captain should have little to do with popularity. However, there is a sense, amongst others in the dressing room, that they would be more suited in terms of nurturing a collective team spirit. However, then Romano reported, Bruno Fernandes is really appreciated by his United teammates and has a fantastic relationship with many of them. There is no problem here. Ten Hag appreciates him too. Fernandes has a chance to make things right at Old Trafford on Thursday when we host Real Betis in the Europa League last of 16. Last of 16? Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to start calling it that. Last of 16. So, is there a witch hunt here? Is this the opportunity for people to try and piss in the ointment, piss in the broth, just to have another little stab at Manchester United, like the fact that we lost 7-0 wasn't enough of a kick in the bollocks? I think everything that everyone has said there, including Keane and Neville, is bang on. Outside of the fact that he's asked to come off, I think that may have been a mistake from Gary Neville. But I absolutely agree with what they're saying. His throwing up of his arms, I'm going to have to find it. Because there was a book I was reading recently that was talking about how important body language is for players. And it's one of the things that players are selected and scouted on at this particular organisation, and it's annoying me because I can't recall where I read it. I want to say it was in Net Gains, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But essentially, body language is very important, and projecting a confident, in control body language for any sort of leader is extremely important. Some managers and captains can bring things on themselves to try and distract and draw attention. There's often always a reason behind the actions of people. But from a captain, your captain wants to be somebody who's experienced. And what does experienced mean? It means making good decisions, really. They're relying on experience to make good, informed decisions. That's why you rarely see teenage captains. You're looking for people that have been there, done it, won a lot, and can be like, lads, don't worry about it. Now, on that front, Varane, De Gea, Casemiro all qualify. You don't need to be a shouter. Eric Cantona proved to us that you can lead by example. People, Cantona kicked a fan. Yeah, he did kick a fan, and we loved him for it. But it wasn't the fact that he kicked a fan that we loved him. It was the performances that he put on the pitch and the leadership that he's shown. He led by an example. Roy Keane led by both example and a little bit of intimidation. And we've seen many other captains at Manchester United be successful and more recently unsuccessful. But what a Manchester United captain should be is, well, to me, Roy Keane, Brian Robson, someone that is an ambassador for the club. Bruno Fernandes could go down as a Manchester United legend in the future if he continues the trajectory that he's on now. He's already going to go down as one of the greats because of the contribution. The only thing that could stop him really is he's not going to really win a hell of a lot of trophies because of the era that he's in, potentially. But Bruno's productivity puts him in that sort of ilk. Now, for me, he doesn't need the armband to be the player that he is. And I think someone like a Casemiro, a much more calming influence, would be a better choice as captain. I agree with Roy Keane on the antics, the petulance is not what you want from a leader. In fact, I'm going to pull the quote back up again there from what he was saying. The body language, the waving your arms and not running back, you wouldn't be happy with him. And I absolutely stand by that. I would want to see, instead of my captain throwing his arms in and seemingly throwing the towel in because things aren't going his way, I want to see him go back, smash someone, whether by fair or by foul, and then bollock everyone who didn't do that. That's the example that a leader sets. Get it done themselves, turn around and go, where the fuck was you? Rather than, there's a massive difference in that sort of attitude. And I think that players can get behind a leader who leads like that more than someone who's just... Believe us, we was all frustrated. Every single Manchester United fan the world around was frustrated with that. Every single player on that pitch was frustrated and annoyed with that, whether they was a red from birth or not. Professional pride comes into it at some point, and they would have been hurting from that. Eric Ten Hag would have been hurting from that. Every single person associated with Manchester United was hurting from that. But you have to be able to not just wear the armband, but own the armband as well. It's a big job. It isn't for everyone. It doesn't make you a bad player if you're not captain material. And I think there's better captain material out there. I think there is a lot of qualities and a lot of leadership about him. He is as determined as a person can be. But sometimes that comes out maybe not in the right way. I'd be keen to hear your thoughts. So let me know in the comments what you think. And I will see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.